Hello everyone. So I have this little program I made here that looks like this. This is the cover art of the stream. I can reset it, then we can write hi, hello, like that. So this is just a little program I made that uses assign the distance fields to sort of draw some shapes and then interpret those as sort of as terrain or something. If I hold down space while running this program, you can see the actual assign distance field. So what you see here is that what a assign distance field is that it's sort of like a texture, and on each pixel you have a number. And that number says how far away that pixel is from a certain shape. So the numbers inside the shape are negative, the red ones here, and the numbers outside the shape are green here, and those are positive. And just at the intersection here, they are 0. So then you can use this information about these sign distance fields to, for example, figure out how if I'm at this pixel here, I can make this little. If I'm at this pixel here, how far am I from the thing? Because the information here says how far is this from the nearest edge of this shape here. And then I can use that sort of. I can combine that with both the information about, because I can paint something like this, right? What you see here is that the edge is sort of thicker here, and then it gets a bit thinner as we go around. On the sides it's like a bit thinner, and on the back it's very thin. And that uses sort of the normal, because it can figure out the normal on the of this sign distance field by essentially sampling a few different points on it and seeing how is it varying at that point in the different directions. So then it can know sort of that at this point here on the back is sort of pointing upwards on the screen, and this point is sort of pointing downwards. And then it can use that to calculate what's the distance, what's the maximum, like what's the thickness we should use for this sort of the slope here we have around here. So this is sort of like it's like a soily slope, and this is sort of like a platform that's raised up, right? Currently, all this is just implemented on CPU. It's very slow because of this. This is something you can easily, well, not easily, but you can move it to the GPU, which is what I will ultimately want to do. But like I said, this is currently in a little separate program. And what it does, I mean, it's not the most pretty code. It's just like a prototype, like I said, but can maybe move the chat a bit like this. It essentially just uses it has a big texture here for the whole screen, and so currently this is just one texture that is like this. Like if I move around here and paint over here, you will see that it reaches the edge. So it's currently just that big, but that's something we can look into later, right? Yeah, and erasing is also a bit funny sometimes, but it's all interesting things we can work with. And the erasing inside can look quite nice like this. But anyways, what I wanted to show in the code was just a slight overview of what it does. So when you have, for example, the circle brush chosen, I have a square brush also, this one. So the circle brush, which is this one. Oh, I don't have any undo yet, so now I click there. Now that's there forever, unless maybe I can. Beautiful. Yeah, probably need some smoothing the brushes somehow, but I learned. Hello, Jakub. Jakub is in the chat. Jakub taught me a bit about SDFs yesterday, or sent me some on the right path. So I learned about this yesterday. So I'm quite a newbie on all these things. But like the thing about this is that, okay, let's look at the code first. I'm derailing myself. I will get, Jakub is asking, how do you generate the dirt detail colors and stuff like that? This is kind of Perlin noise, yeah. So when I draw with the circle brush here, this is just the code for the white outline around it, and it's not. This is just some hack I did, copied from the internet. Really, like I think this is the left half and this is the right half of the circle, and then it checks if it's near the edge, and then it draws a pixel and stuff. But that's not so important. This is the thing that if the left mouse button is held down, it then goes over the whole grid and sets the value of sort of this SDF thing, and it takes the minimum of whatever is on the SDF right now and a circle SDF function. And the SDF circle function is very simple. It's just a function that takes the length of the point, how far it is from the origin, and then subtracts the radius. And what that will do, if you were to sort of draw it, we can actually do it like this. If I hold space and click here, so from the center here, the length, it is constant. You know, so what this function does, it constantly subtracts r. So of course then within the circle here, r, it will be negative because r is let's see here. Yeah, so these two will cancel. When you are one radius away from the middle, then the length of the distance from this point to wherever you're looking, when you're out here, then the distance from here to here will be the same as the radius. That's why it ends. That's why it becomes 0 at the edge, and then it's positive outside, because this is a fixed number and this is growing. So outside, this part here, the length can become bigger and bigger, and inside it's always smaller than the radius, which is why it's negative inside. So this function for SDF. So this is sort of what the sign distance field function for a circle is. For a box, it's slightly more complicated, but it's not that much more complicated. But you see, it sort of does some stuff with the this is the extents of the box and it's the position. So, but that's mostly what all these sign distance field functions are. Just a way for some mathematical shape, construct a function so that you get negative values when you're inside the shape and positive ones when you're outside the shape. And then I can draw those into a texture like I do here. So now it has drawn these two into the texture here, and it does that drawing by taking the minimum of whatever is there right now, the minimum of whatever's right there right now, and the circle function in this case. And for subtracting, you use the max instead, and you take the minus of the circle function. But like I said, this is all implemented on CPU right now, just a prototype. So this should be moved to the GPU. Well, both, maybe the painting should be moved to the GPU, but especially the drawing, which is the stuff I haven't shown yet. So the drawing is up here. It just goes over the whole grid and fetches the value of the SDF on that point. You can ignore these things about the slope, but what it does is it checks if S, which is the value of the SDF, if that's bigger than 0, which means that it's outside the shape. So all these points that are dark or green here have S bigger than 0, right? So what we see is this brown area is always outside the sort of red area. So this stuff here is always outside that, right? So it checks if S is bigger than 0, so we're outside the red, and then if S is less than some R, then we say, oh, it should have the color of mud, which is this brown color. And how does it figure out R then? Well, R is, it's a few hoops that go through here, but R is essentially it calculates the normal at the position where we currently are of the SDF, and what that does is this is a bit how you're doing, but it essentially checks a few different points on the SDF and takes an average of them and normalizes it. So it sort of samples it's what you in mathematics call a gradient. So you sort of, but it uses that to figure out normal. And then you have, so you get the normal there, and then you take the dot product between the normal and the down vector, which goes down like this. Then you get this value D, and then I just remap that from the range -1 to 1 to 0 to 1, because I think it's often more useful to have a normalized range like this. And then I take R1 and I say, okay, this thing R that we compare to down here, it should be between, it should remap from 0.2 to 0.8. So if R1 is between 0.2 and 0.8, then we instead say that it should map, like that range should map to the range 2.5 to 14. And 14 happens to be this length, and 2.5 is this length. So it's essentially based on the direction this dot product said, it will figure out different. It will figure out this range here. So if it's close to 0, then it's pointing a lot upwards. If it's close to 1, then it's pointing mostly downward. So that's why it's 14 when it's pointing downwards, and it's like 2.5, and then it gets, yeah. You could probably put in some nicer function here to make it look even better, but yeah. So these Jakub asked about this noise. So this noise is essentially, it uses, in Odin you have the noise, in the math, I think, up here you have math noise, and this is a simplex noise. So I just use that currently. And I just send in the position I'm currently on divided by some number to get the granularity right. Like, you know, if I change this, you will see here that, oh, I have just broken my code. You can see how these things here change. If I divide by 1 here, this green stuff here gets very funny. And this one is used for the brown stuff, I think. So if I change that to 20, I think, you know, it becomes very much, that looks quite nice actually, but we can put it back to how it was. You know, you can experiment with it. I'm using the hot reload template. I built this inside my hot reload template. Okay. So, that's the noise, and it just uses that noise to sort of do some, it just does some extra checks, sort of like, oh, if we're very close to the bottom here, if the radius is more than 75, if we're closer than 75% to the, like this check here, if S is bigger than the radius times 75, 0.75, which is very close, then it draws with, I can show we can remove this and you see what it does. Then you just have a nice border like that. But if we add in this, then it's like, or if this stuff, and here it's taking the noise times, it just remaps the SDF value to 14 minus. This is just so to move it down a bit, because S is, remember how close it is to the edge. So I take 14 minus that, so it kind of moves it off a bit from, because if I, yeah, you can see sort of the difference there. If I just do like this, then it you don't get as much coming up on the side here. But these are just like quick things I hack together just to as a proof of concept. Arxiv asks, hello Alonso. Arxiv asks, is there some kind of like fake perspective built in? Well, that's what this thing does, right? So if I were to do this 1414, you see, now it looks like this. But this number here says that uses the dot product between the normal of the edge. They use the dot product of the normal of the edge, this thing, and it uses that to figure out, like, so that it is thinner at the back and thick at the front. So that's the fake perspective it sort of does, and that's what I wanted, right? I wanted some way to sort of add in this stuff. But essentially, so it just draws pixel art. Now this is very slow. I need to put this on the GPU and like figure out how to do this without lots of branching on the GPU. But that's for later. I think I can figure that out. I'm not so worried about that. So. Jakub says you could probably use normal.y instead of dot product. Maybe, yeah, wait, can I? Maybe. That's interesting. What happens if I do this? n.y. Oh yeah, you're right, because... Oh, of course, because the normal is already normalized. So it's sort of just a number of how much it point... Yeah, that makes sense. So you don't need to have that, and... I mean, I could also probably not remap this from -1 to 1. I just, for some reason, like doing that. Good thinking. Right. So, what I want to do here today is, this is just currently inside my little playground here. I want to try to move this into the main, like my current prototype. There's some limitations right now to this, because currently it just uses one big SDF texture. You see, you can reach the edge here and stuff. And also I can't put like a hill on top of a hill, because it only measures how far it is from essentially a higher up, like that's what I'm using it as. It measures how far am I from a surface that is higher up. But I was thinking, instead of making a giant world map that is like a huge SDF, I was thinking, what if we move this into my little other game prototype and we make it so that I can spawn objects that have an SDF on them. So it's like, oh, I want to make a hill, and then you choose like, oh, the SDF sampler that behaves like this, and then you put that in, and then you get a separate one, and then it uses the SDF in that one. Like, then you have many small separate SDFs it uses to sort of draw interesting objects. And then there's some other, like I have a way to, very ugly way to draw a slope currently, like this. It needs some kind of indication of the height difference, but I can figure that out later, because currently it just looks a bit weird. And then I also need some way to, I need to interpolate when I pull the mouse cursor fast, and then I need to move everything to the GPU so that it becomes faster, because currently it is slow because it is doing a million loops on a GPU and blah blah blah. Anyways, enough about that. Let's look at this is my silly adventure game prototype, and here is actually, so what you can see here in this one, you can see what I was looking at when I made the other thing. I have a problem where I must manually go and start the program when there's one already open. So you can sort of see that I can use the box brush maybe to make it more obvious. You can see, like, I looked at this style and I tried to mimic it like this. I didn't put in the lines because lines are a bit hard to draw, and maybe I actually prefer how this looks to this. I'm not sure yet. And then I need to put the water in, but that will be like a separate SDF based object thingy that has water. Yeah. So that's, then you can see the relation between those two. Why one looks like it does. Why this one looks like it does, because I looked at this. So let's think about how we can move all this over to my, and this will be like nice because you will have to watch me sort of work with all these things. You have to see me port over the code essentially to the other game. So I moved the game.odin from my pixel painter project here, just so I can look at it. And then we have this one here, which is my game. So let's think a bit about how we can maybe try to move this over. So I think I already have a little editor in this game. Yeah, so I have something like this. See, I can place tiles and stuff. La la la. And the reason I even wanted to do something like this SDF based more thingy is because you see lots of pixel art. Like I can show you one I liked. You see lots of pixel art pieces like this one. I really like. A friend sent this to me, and not so much about the floating island, but sort of just the edges, that you have like these nice edges and stuff. And I was like, okay, this is typical. Like this is a typical pixel art piece, but no games look like this. And I just thought it'd be fun to at least have a slightly more sort of organic style to the graphics. I'm not saying it's gonna look like this, but yeah, I just think the boxiness of tile sets is maybe one can try doing something different. Okay. So I need some way to place. So I'm gonna do this sort of probably like I make it possible to place I think I want to make it so that there's a new type of object to place in the editor here that is sort of like an SDF object. And then we'll take it from there. So let's work on that. So this is the file with the editor. And we have the edit mode tiles here. So let's go to edit mode. So here's tiles object. So let's call this one SDF object. Or something like that. I don't know what the best name is really. It's objects that are created using SDFs. Compile that. Yes. SDF object, edit mode, SDF objects. And this is sort of where the whole editor will go inside here. So we go up here, so go back down. Like that. This is the procedure where the SDF object editor will be. We go back, have a look. Yeah, there we have those guys. This one is sticking out of his box because of reasons. Why is that? Why is that? Why is that? Select, that's a selector. Maybe I just haven't made it big enough. Yeah, there you go. SDF objects. Right. So, for the SDF object editing mode, we kinda need to have some way to make a new one. And place it somewhere, because the SDF object will essentially be like a, it's like a texture that you draw into, right? And then you it will like dynamically grow the texture when you try to draw outside or something. I don't know, I haven't really figured it out, but it will be fine. So we need a button to make a new one, I think, first. So let's see. If GUI button, where should we put this? I don't think I'll need a whole sidebar. That's, oh, actually I think might. Okay. So let's go up here. Let's split off a little sidebar like this. There you go. You got your sidebar there. And then we do like this. If GUI button, what's this? It's supposed to be called new. And we say cut rect top. So we cut from this sidebar we made here. And we cut 20 maybe. Get a button. No, oh, we need some curly braces, of course. There's our button. Maybe I will do the sidebar equals rect inset. What's it called? Inset rect. Sidebar 5. Or is there like a metric for this? Metric. Oh. Padding. Maybe it's this one I want. Metric toolbar. Padding. Maybe. Yeah, there you got some nice padding around it. And then when I click this button, I want to add a new SDF object somehow. And then I haven't really figured out either how we will save these. So we have an editor world and it contains all these things, a tile and an object and all these things, and it knows how to serialize it, so you can draw things here and you can do stuff. But I kind of like starting with the editor part now because I know how to do the SDF part already. So, but let's just make a struct called SDF object. We have a dynamic list of these guys. And what does this one contain? Currently it should contain just a it needs to know a width, that is an int. And then it needs to have the data. What is data? I will probably initially not support the thing of resizing them. But I will put that in later so we can get something on the screen quicker. So let's go up here. So my SDF, this is the code in from the Pixel Paint, like the prototype tool program. this is how it did. I don't really like that it used a two-dimensional list. I almost never like that because they're tricky. They're easy to start working with, but tricky 5 minutes later when you. So usually it's better to have one continuous list of just. And it's F32 right now. I don't know. Let's just do like this. We say it's a slice of F32. And it has a width. Okay. Good. Then we can Sublime CS asks if Raylib is robust for game making, and if I would rather use another engine. No, it's quite good. I mean, it's Raylib itself is not really an engine. It's just like a library for drawing graphics and playing sounds. But if you like doing that and you want something simple, then Raylib is good. So this is my object, and this is the SDF. This will be like this. Okay, so let's go back to the editor. So on this new ... that we made here, we will say append to world dot SDF objects. And then I will just do something here. I will just do some temporary stuff first. Like this, and we say that the width is, let's say that it's 320, and the SDF is make I'm just putting it aside. So this will happen dynamically later. But right now, I just want to put something on the screen. So I'm just adding that when you click that. Oh yeah, this thing also needs a position in the world. Because I want to be able to like draw something with the SDF. So I want to be able to draw a little hill and then actually move the whole hill as a separate object. We'll see how that goes. It can be at origin for now, that's somewhere. Right. And then we can say, so for the SDF object edit, when we're editing the SDF object, we need to have some way to know which one we currently have selected. Which one are we currently editing? So I will just write like this. I'll probably convert this to a union or something later. It can be like that for now. Just hack in something here. Selected SDF object. Object is an integer. Then we go back to this new ... and we say EM, that's the editor memory, is length of world of SDF objects. Okay, so then we set that one to be the edited one, and it is be at position 0, 0. So then we can go down here and say if selected SDF object is not 0, well, I usually like, when you have a list of things, I usually like that the one at the first element, the 0 at index 0, is always there when you start up. But so, because then you can use index 0 as no object. But then you need to make sure to add it, like you use an empty object at index 0, so you just have something there. But anyways, so that one is selected. Maybe now we can take, because this has a position, that's going to be the upper left corner, I think. So let's do rl.draw rectangle. So I just want to draw the outline of this thing, where it currently is in the world. SDF ob rect. It's a rectangle, and it is at. So we fetch from SDF object. Yeah, this is not going to work, of course. It needs to be em dot selected SDF object. Don't I have like a rect from pos size? Yeah, like this procedure. So then I can say o.pos, and the size is. Well, it is o.width, and then length of o.sdf divided by o.width. And then we draw that. What does this thing take? 1, and then rl.red or something. I just want to draw the outline of it. Okay, let's see here, some compiler errors. Right. This is, both these need to be floats, right? They compile, it reset because the memory layout changed. That's fine. Go into the editor, go here, click new. And then everything crashed, I think. No? Oh, I know. I don't have any. I think, yeah, editor draw world is a separate thing here. Let's put it there. Ugh, what's happening? Wait, I put it in the wrong place, did I? No? Wait. What am I doing? No, that's correct. It's here. Why do I have 2 worlds suddenly? Wow. That's confusing. In this. What have I broken? What is going on? I just probably done something very silly. I'm just gonna reset this. Okay, so this one is fine. This one is fine. This one has a day. Then when you go back to this. Oh, okay, I see. Oh, I think I know what's going on. Yeah. I have a new way of drawing stuff in this game, and I'm not sure I like it yet. I'm gonna. Yeah, there we go. I have to like modify some global state to set which thing I'm drawing into. So it has like a sort of, now it draws into this group, and then it can have one group for UI, but I don't like it because it's easy to make mistakes. Okay, I clicked new, nothing happened. Okay. Let's just print this thing, see if it's even there. Yeah, it's still right. And he has lots of numbers to show us. Maybe my math. What is? Can I? What? Let's see if I just do this. Is my math wrong? Ugh. Printing, lagging. Okay, so this thing should be at the. Oh, I know why. Draw direct lines. This is what I was talking about. I have a new fancy way to do this. So I just say like that. And there it is. there's my box of things. Right. So this is the thing I want to draw into. If I reset, go into here, click new, there you have it. Let's maybe, I'm just gonna move it up a bit. Pos equals minus 320 and by 2 minus 180. This is just so it centers on the screen, because I'm gonna work on this over and over, so it's just nice to have that. Okay. If I reset this now, click new, yeah, then it's sort of centered on the screen. That's good. So now we make it so it's possible to move this later, but maybe now we can focus on getting some of the SDF stuff brought over. And now I already think maybe I need a union for these guys. Okay, I don't want to spend energy on that right now, but SDF editing is a struct with some stuff in it, and then I can move this into here later when, because if I make this a union now, I have to actually fuck it, let's do it. Let's edit mode tiles is a struct, because these can be empty, because edit mode objects is a struct, edit mode SDF objects is a struct which will contain some stuff, and this is you're a union containing that, you and you, and then I can move the selected SDF object into here, and then I will also have some of my brush stuff in here. And I will need to fix a million compile errors. So this doesn't work anymore. GUI enum selector. Right. I was gonna look in the Kitty Cat game source code. This is the Cat and Onion source code. I'm gonna look in here just to find, what's it called? Selector. Here you go. No, is it you? Yes, this is exactly, you see, I did exactly this. I have a list of the names of the things, and then I have the different structs that represent those edit mode thingies, and then I have this thing here. So let's just take this thing and run over, and I might have to copy this GUI thing over. Yeah. Right, so we do this here instead, bam, and then we say, go up here. You see, there is some extra stuff I need to do now, because now I need to do edit mode tiles. I need to have all these here, because they need to be stored somewhere. I mean, I could, I guess, I think I keep them separate. I don't throw them away when I change the union value here, because then if you switch between tiles and objects and blah blah blah, then your edit state is destroyed, which is not so fun. Right. Is randomly suddenly complaining about that. Edit mode tiles, okay. Edit mode object. That's, and edit mode SDF objects. There's probably maybe some way to do this in a more automated way, but so I'm just replacing, before this I use an enum. The enums are easier to just do a generic thingy with the you can just pass in the enum and it figures everything out. When I use a union I have to manually do some stuff here. Maybe that's fixable, I don't know. top bar it's called now, not main toolbar. Is that all? I'm gonna ignore. Right, so what you need to do here is also put these guys, because there will actually be a union of pointers to those. Right, so then this one doesn't have that anymore because it comes in here. This is this sort of state, SDF edit mode. We can call, yeah, it can be called state edit mode or something. EM is already editor memory, so I'm just gonna call it edit. Sure, whatever. I'm gonna call it M. Haha. M. I should replace these guys. Not you. Right, this needs to be a pointer. And then this doesn't work anymore because this now switches on. It's a switch on M in em.mode, and then we need some type names here. Edit mode tiles. Oh, that's a bug almost in edit mode. It puts the thing in here. I don't, or maybe is it supposed to? I'm gonna check that. Oh, actually it's correct. You're supposed to have the pointer, that whole typer including the pointer. I didn't know that, I didn't remember that. Edit mode, SDF objects, and then here you need to pass in a pointer to the current value of the union. Blum blum blum. I'm not sure what this one is doing yet. I'm just gonna wait until I fixed all the other compile errors. Okay, I guess it doesn't need it anymore. It's weird because it just appeared, that error, out of nowhere. Oh, I think I know why. Because there was, maybe it's because I had unused generic procedures inside. I don't know. I was thinking if maybe it can't figure that out always if something is unused. If you have polymorphic procedures that are might use it, but have not been used, so I haven't generated any variants of those. I don't know, maybe. That's my guess. Okay. So now we have this guy here. So that is passed in when we are editing an SDF object. So now we need, this is, like I said, this stuff here is in the old prototype program. So what we'll need is essentially, we can start with just a radius here. Have just a circle brush for now, then we can add in all these. We'll do a bit at a time. Radius. Okay, brush position. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so somewhere here now, well, actually down here, I want to put all the code will end up here, sort of, for now. Let's just copy some stuff here from my other code. So m.radius, we use the mouse wheel to do that. Maybe there should be a clamp here. m.radius equals m.radius, clamp it between 0 and, I don't know, 200, because it can go negative, and I notice, and that doesn't help anyone. And then we say r is m.radius, remove this. Right, and then we have this brush position here. And this thing just seems to be the world position. I'm just looking at the code in my other in the prototype tool I'm trying to port in. So this seems to be the world mouse cursor position. I think I have that somewhere. Mouse in drawer mouse. Is this like a world position? Mouse pos. Yeah. So I can just use this. This is also part of the stuff I might want to change. We'll see. Right, so we used to do this. This one is sort of not clamped. Maybe I want to clamp it to a pixel, which is what this thing does. Vec2 floor doesn't exist in this program. Let's bring that over perhaps. Go here, go to math. Vec2 floor. Yeah. Right. Good. That compiles, well, kinda. So I will need the SDF circle proc. So I copy that here, and this, like I said, this one just takes a position and the radius of a circle, and this is the SDF function for a circle. It's just the length of how far from the origin are you minus the radius. And you will see when we use this later that you don't have to have the circle at the origin if you just subtract the cursor position from it. I have a bit too little. I should do something about my chat problems. I have too little screen space, I realize. Right. I'm gonna do something. I almost never use line numbers. Settings. Syntax specific. Gutter. I think it's this. False. Go back. Yeah, it removed the line numbers. It steals screen space really. So then we will draw in the little circle for where the brush should be. I steal this code over for now. Maybe that works. It did. So we go, oh, this all looks messed. Oh, okay, it didn't have a default chosen. Okay. What does it even do? Why doesn't it just draw a circle without a non-filled circle? I'm so gonna run into trouble with how I draw stuff, that I have this delayed drawing in this game. Instead of drawing immediately. Because this draws this draws pixel things. Isn't there like a rl.draw circle lines? What does this thing do? And do I have a draw circle? Okay, let's try this. Draw circle. So So we say at BP, which is the brush position, with the radius, the R we have there. We say RL.white. Sorting I don't care about right now. Well, I need to do that in the loop. You can just... Where is my... Set the sorting very high. No? Okay. What's BP? I know what's wrong. I think it's... Actually, I don't know what's wrong. Why is this not drawing a circle? Yeah, I'm gonna have to rethink, I think, my drawing code, like my delayed drawing, because it's both currently explicit but also not very explicit, because this I have to set this global state like this, and then use these funny procedures to sort of delay everything to later. I don't know. I didn't have all these problems in my previous game. There I did it. There I just did more immediate drawing, especially in the editor, because not being able to just in the game is nice to separate update and draw code, but in the editor I actually care much less about all that. But we shall see. This is the world position. Okay, let me... It's running into very basic problems here. So this then... And this looks like a nice little position. Right. Okay. Perhaps if I move this later. Still nothing. Nothing. Enough. Oh, I know why. Radius was 0. It was working all the time. I was like looking at this like, what's this one? Oh, it's 0. Well, that's just great. Right. Anyways, that's funny. So you see, that's my little thing there. Okay. So we have that. We're probably not gonna need all this. I just need to add a new one called draw circle lines. That draws the outline of the circle. I just usually copy these. So this is my delayed drawing stuff that I can queue stuff up. But I'm not sure I like it. We'll see. I don't know what other people have done for a smart sort of Rayleigh based drawing thingy, like when you run into the problem of needing to sort of delay drawing. you know, usually it's nice when it's nice to have your update code, your update procedure, and your draw procedure in a game. But sometimes, especially when you make editors, you're like deep inside some immediate mode UI, and you don't want to do anything like that. Like you don't want to duplicate the code to figure out the state of where you are in your EMGUI. So you instead just defer that drawing to later by putting everything on a big array with like a sorting key that you can just go through later. But it's not all that fun. Oh, this one doesn't have lines. There you go. There's a line. Why doesn't this thing have a radius? It's so weird. It's just like super thin. Like it has a radius, but it doesn't have a thickness, I mean. Oh, maybe that's a ring. I see. Draw ring lines. Wait, what does this thing do? Inner radius, outer radius, start angle, end angle. Okay. Guess I'll figure that out. Okay, so it should be at the position, and the inner radius should be d dot radius, and then we should d dot radius plus 1 for plus 2 maybe for the outer radius, and start angle is 0, end angle is 360, segments is, I don't know, 10, color is rl dot y. Oh. Wait, why does it? Okay, maybe I'm supposed to use draw ring. Ah, I see. Welcome to my mystical brush. Okay, so I can control that with the scroll wheel. That was a lot of nothing. Yeah, so the old code did this sort of pixel thing, but because it uses draw pixel here, and I don't have any way to defer drawing of pixels, and I'm not sure I want that. So I just changed it to just draw a circle. Okay, so now we need to draw into the SDF when the mouse button is down. So let's do that here. And I'll copy this code from here and explain what it does. So, well, this is not, of course, not going to work because this is not how our grid looks at all. But essentially when you're working with an SDF, you need to, whenever you change one point, you go over all the points in the SDF and make sure that if they need to be closer to a point, like if you need to, if something appeared closer to them than something else is currently, then you need to put that new value in. So essentially if there is already sort of a circle painted down here, and there's a point sort of here that says that, oh, this circle is I'm closest to this one, but then you put something here that's closer, then it needs to say that, oh, I'm actually closer to this one. So that's why it goes over all of them. But we can just do this, o.width, and the height is is length of o dot SDF divided by o dot width, or something like that. Wait, actually I don't need to do any of this because I can just loop over it instead. I can just do this. Bye bye, Alonso. No. I think I can do this. Instead, because so you see, because it's a normal array now, so okay, then I don't get the x and the y, of course. I need to construct those instead. But it's usually better to loop over things like this also for cache reasons, but this code is not performance friendly anyways. This is drawing on the CPU right now. I shouldn't do that. I should move it to the GPU later, but we can fix that later. So we need to construct the x and the y. So this is x is the index divided by o dot width, and y is the index. Wait, it's like this, right? And then the height I don't even need. That's a funny thing. As long as you always have the correct number, like you usually don't need the height. You usually only need the width when you're doing something like this. Right. Let's we can add in the erasing later, but we will do this first. So now I have my SDF circle procedure here. Good. I need my smin. So this is a Jakub gave me this code actually, but this is essentially a smoothed min and a max. So instead of just picking the maximum and the minimum, it has a smoothing parameter that can sort of smooth together these two. And that's how you've seen in many SDFs how you can kind of get things that look like they're melting together a bit. So I just copy those two in there. So these kind of things you can find a lot of this on Inigo QL's blog, this web page. You will find lots of these things. I don't remember exactly where these are, but you can find, for example, all the 2D SDFs. So this is the one I sort of try to show here, that this is the positive area outside and the negative area inside and stuff. Okay. vec2 from int doesn't exist. Yeah, okay. I've added some extra math functions in the other project, well, in the prototype. Okay, now it compiled. That's good. So something that is very good while working with anything SDF based, I realized, is to have a way to visualize the actual SDF. Which means you hold some key and then you see what it is you paint. And since we don't have the proper rendering yet, it's nice to see that you can actually paint the SDF. So let's bring that in first, and then we can paint a bit into this thing. Oh, this is... Oh, I'm in the correct project. Edit or draw. Okay. I'm just gonna hack this in after here, I think. So this is my grouped drawing. So first draws the world, and then the UI, and then there's an overlay for the UI for like drop downs and stuff. But this means I can almost never use, well, I can't use any raylib drawing things directly because there's a clear here. So if I before this is called do anything RL draw, then it doesn't happen. So I need to figure that out. But I'm just gonna do this. Switch M in em.edit mode. Just gonna draw some stuff here. Can do a partial. And then we say case edit mode SDF objects. And then in here, I want to draw some stuff now. I wanna draw. So that I have in the prototype for this, I have a little. This when you hold down space, it does this stuff, right? And this is just draws the actual SDF for us. So I'll copy that. This is just like a visualization mode essentially. So I'll copy that here, and what this does is again we will need something like this. We loop over the whole SDF. So we'll do this. If we have a selected SDF object, wait, actually we can for O in world.sdf object. So I go over all those. And then there's too many curly braces. So I go over all the SDF objects. So this is just, I hack this in here to just get a debug printing, right? A debug visualization right now. And this stuff we can remove. And this stuff here, this is the position. So we say o.position plus this, right? No, o.position. Maybe now, there's a black box up here. Okay, I know why. This does not use the correct camera. Hacking this in here. Here you go. Whoa. So now, wait. What was that? Oh yeah, I need to initialize the SDF with because currently everything is 0. You want to initialize it with like, what do you think is the maximum value, not the I'm gonna put them all to 32. Like I said, this code we will change later when we have more there'll be a lot of trial and error and resetting to get this right. Okay, it is drawing, but on the wrong place. But you see here that it's drawing the SDF now. So this is just, it's drawing it. is... See here, why is it at the wrong place? Oh, because... Oh. Yeah. It should not be... It should... These values, these positions here... should be... Let's see here. There should be in local space, sort of. So it should take into consideration the upper left corner of the SDF thingy here. But that should be pretty easy to fix. I think I used to -o.pos. What tends to happen is I tend to try to interact with this window here while the focus is still here. And I think that happens because I think that happens because I currently don't have any undo, so I don't want to click in this too much. And there you go. Police. Just when I got it working, you come and get me. So you see, now it works correctly. It's now sort of in local space, because this one says minus something, something, something here. This, the 0, 0 is here. So this is moved. So now we can paint into this. That's all good. Right. That's one step. So let's get the actual correct drawing in now, maybe. It's very funny how it is, like, you see this lines everywhere here. I wonder what's up with that. By the way, why do I switch on? I don't need to do this right, no. Let's do that. It's when I zoom you start seeing the... Because currently you just draw pixel, so when you're at zooms that are weird, you get these... Okay. So that's the SDF. Let's just reset and draw something a bit less chaotic to start with. Okay, I need... Wait. I need to fix a thing. So, you're supposed to be able to use the scroll wheel to zoom, right? Okay, I'll copy this. But if rl dot is key down, I think left shift should do. And then it does this stuff. Wait, no, the other way around. So this is for the zoom, and this is for the brush. So now I can zoom, but I can also left shift. That's this button. Left shift is key. Excuse me? Why doesn't that work? Left control. Just gonna try some random key here. M. Wait. I think it might be been a focus problem. I need to click in here. Yeah, it's just that. So now I can use shift to change the size of this. And I can use the scroll wheel to zoom. Okay, cool. Nice. I have my cursor. It looks a bit crazy right now because the cursor ends up behind. If I zoom out enough, you might not even see the cursor anymore. But anyways, we're gonna stop rendering like this now and start rendering. Try doing the actual rendering code that I did for drawing the terrain. So we just do something like this maybe. If rl.is key down r, I don't know. If r is held, then we do this one. Now that this appears, I can hold R to see the actual SDF. But now let's do our printing of the thing here. So I will try to get this the correct rendering of it in, and then I will just need to think about my crappy delayed drawing stuff, how to make that work nicely. Right, so we need to move over now the code to actually draw stuff. And the code that actually draws stuff that makes it look nice, like in... I draw the thumbnail for this stream like this. So we need to make it so it draws in this style instead of use the SDF stuff. And that's this code. So what we'll do is we will loop over all the SDF objects. Like this. We get the X and the Y position. Nice. And then we say P equals, this is the position, this is a vector, and then we calculate the normal at that point for the SDF. This thing is not gonna work because it uses global memory, but we will fix that. I will show you what I mean. So now this code, like I said, this is from the old prototype, and I copy it into my editor of my actual game. And here I need to have an SDF that is a SDF object. Maybe we can send in the whole thing. So we need to say O dot. We need to this procedure returns the value at a specific position in the SDF, and it needs to clamp between these values. Need to be clamped between the why does this even why doesn't this take an integer? I mean, if I move this to a shader, I would probably use a lower res SDF. But right now it uses pix. I think it should be like this. And the height is the length of O dot SDF divided by O dot width minus 1. Well, it clamps it in that range. This is an index, right? And then there's lots of errors. We'll fix those. And this thing then is to take an SDF object and then a position. Okay, let's see. Compile that. Oh right, I'm trying to index it as if it was a two-dimensional array. Right, so we just need to get the index here instead. Is p dot y times o dot width plus p dot x. That's the index into it. Remove all this. We can just clamp it. Yeah, you see I got a bit confused there for a while because I copied code over. So this is how it's supposed to look. And then this guy is complaining a lot about something. Parameter p of type 2 int is missing in procedure call. Oh yeah, we must send in the SDF object here. Like that. Now this one works, good. I think this is, to me, you know, people talk a lot about reusable code and like how to make reusable code. And I think that if you have a simple programming language like Odin where you're mostly using structs and procedures and stuff, then it's very trivial to copy over a procedure that doesn't use lots of hidden state. It just uses what you see in the procedure. It's not like in some code where you have like, oh, it's some virtual function that actually does something else. And when the moment you try to have this, if you have some object-oriented code and you want to take out a small piece of it, often it's sort of like doing electronics in a car. You start pulling and then all the cables come out. Okay, so that works. So now we have the normal here, which is what we want. And then we can do all this stuff. There's for some reason a weird indentation here, I see. It's like two spaces and then a tab. This is chaos code I made yesterday. Chaos code. But we will copy it over and clean it up and be nice to it. We will need to import core math noise. There is built-in noise procedures in Odin. Oh yeah, we need to send in the SDF object to calculate normal because it's no longer a global thingy like in the old one. Position is an integer position, not a whatever it is, float 32. So now it's just complaining that these are declared but not used. That's all fine because we're gonna do that. But first we're gonna click convert indentation to tabs. Good, thank you. Has nearby property. Okay, so in the old code, what it does now is that it uses this R, which is how much soil should we, how thick sort of border should we have around the little hill where we've painted. And then it does that. So we can worry about these things later. Let's just copy this for now. And I don't copy in the slope code right now because, to be honest, that one is quite crappy. And these colors might not work currently. Let me see. Color, yeah, I don't think I have any colors of my palette in there. Let me copy those in actually for now. Yeah, there they are. I will decide on the palette of the game later. So I have in the code, I have the palette, you know, all the colors nicely, like constants I can use. Then we compile again. This one is not used currently. Is slope edge. Don't need that. Can move to this one. Draw pixel V. Okay. And then we need here to vec2 from... there's a missing... I have a missing procedure again. Vec2 from vec2i. Don't I have that one? So I alt tab to the my little prototype project every now and then. So this one just converts a integer vector to a float vector because that's what Rayleigh wants for this one. Okay, now it compiled. That's cool. Oh, you see, there it is. It's just the wrong position, but that's because I've done something wrong. So it's already getting in there. Nice. Whoa. That was the victory music. So it seems confused about... Oh, wait. P is what? That's the... Right, so you must do plus O dot pos here, right. Yeah, there you go. Now you can paint. Yes. Woo! Very nice. It doesn't look very good yet because you have all these little squares everywhere. But that's probably because this one has more filtering turned on than the other. I think it might be my pixel art filtering that is messing things up, but I'm not gonna draw it like you can see that I draw this pixel by pixel currently. I'm gonna draw it in a shader later. But I can draw. Whee! Okay, let's reset. Yeah, because I had some ugly stuff there. So now we can do stuff like this. Nice, nice. So you can sort of see already how, and I will add in the square, like I will be able to do more square things like this still. But yeah, so let's add in because this doesn't have all the fancy graphics yet. I want to add that in. It's this code. So what this code here does that I just copied in, it just checks if, because I have, this is the SDF, you can jump between these two, right? So this one is like, okay, if S is bigger than 0, which is that I'm outside the red area, because everything inside the red area is negative. That's what happens when you paint. It makes the things inside the brush negative, and then for all the other pixels it will check how use the SDF function to set those pixels. If they're closer to this thing here than to this thing over here, then this thing will sort of win out and be the new closest thing. So for example, if I pull this through here, then you see something interesting happen. You see that these pixels here sort of changed so that they actually became closer to this one than to this one. So that's why it's bigger than 0 here. It checks if it's bigger than 0, and then less than R. And less than R is that, are we closer than the distance for how thick sort of soil mud line around it we should have currently. And that's based on the normal of the SDF. It just remaps it so that if the normal points down a lot, it will get thicker, which is this thing, and if it points upwards a lot, it will get less thick, which is this thing. This is a remap. It just takes whatever is in R1. If it's 0.2, then it will be 2.5, and then it linearly remaps so that if it's up to 0.8, so 0.8 will become 14 and 0.2 will become 2.5, and 14 is the thickness of this thing. And that's why there's sort of these magic numbers a bit here and there. But that's just how it goes. And what this stuff here does is it checks if we're more than halfway out from the along the sort of mud line here, which is we're more than halfway down towards the ground here, then it that's what makes it color it dark here. So this thing just does some extra checks here with it only does this if the thickness is big enough, which is why there's no black stuff at all behind here. And then it if it is if we're bigger than 70, like I showed this before, I think. If I remove that, then we just get a line. Oh, now everything stopped compiling. We remove that. Oh, I hate this thing sometimes. You try to just show something and you see, you have just this line now. But if you add in the noise that uses this stuff, then you get the noise above it. Right. Hello, Chris PHP. It's going quite well. I'm trying to port this stuff over to my actual game. I have this in a little prototype tool program, but now I'm trying to put it in the actual game. So let's see how that goes. So in the game, in the prototype, we also had this grass at the top and at the bottom, like this darker grass. And I think all we need to do to get that working is copy this code in. I'm gonna do something here. PF, which means position float, could be there, there, and there. Oh, these guys are at the wrong position. You see they're over here. Got like this is the grassy stuff that's supposed to be on top here. La la la. Here you go. So that's good. Now we can just try to zoom to a zoom here where it doesn't look like so weird. Oh, it's impossible. Yeah. Cool, cool. I would love to get rid of these ugly. Maybe I can fix that temporarily by switching shader mode. rl.begin shader mode. No, wait. Okay, let's try this. rl.end shader mode. No, didn't fix it. Yeah, because I have a funny shader that is running, that is doing some pixel smoothing. I'm thinking if that is what made it so ugly. But I think not. Oh well. Maybe it's better to just move to the GPU instead of trying to make this look nice. Because I will need to do that anyways, because you can't just draw pixels like this everywhere. Okay. Let's get the right click into delete to remove stuff. Oh, it's here. I think the only thing you need to do is to change this to a max and put a negative sign there, and then it will be possible to erase now. Yep. Erasing in SDF textures like this can be a bit funny sometimes. You can get like, if you erase with a too small brush, you kind of get leftover crap like this, and if you look in the texture, it's because it's too dark. It's dark enough here that it thinks it's close to an edge still. I will maybe look a bit more. I'm constantly using the wrong scroll option to try to scroll. I need to hold shift to scroll. Ooh. Right now it's looking okay. Okay, let's get the square brush in. Let's add some brushes, because that will help a lot. SDF brush, this kind of guy here. Yes, and then we go to back to where this is used, and we will check if we can set the brush with 1 and 2 currently, the number keys on the keyboard. Copy that code over. Let's do it here. Doesn't really matter. M.brush. A circle or square. Then we go down here. And what do we do here? What do we do? This is the code that does the drawing. Okay, let's do this. Switch on O.brush. No, M.brush is called. Ugh. So this is for the circle, and then for the square we do something else. Let's make sure the circle works properly still. Missing thing. Yep, so I can switch, I can press 1 and 2, and that changes which is active, but it doesn't do anything for the square yet, which will change in 5 seconds when we copy this stuff here. Recompile. Right. Draw rect lines. Rect. What does it want? It just wants a color. There you go. There's your box. So you can change your circle in your box with 1 and 2. Still paint with my circle. Can't paint with my box yet because that's not implemented. That's this code. So we copy this stuff to here. So let's see. Let's do this, but we do this instead. So this will, when you hold down the left mouse button, it will do this stuff. If you hold down the right mouse button, it will instead do this stuff. And then we write S here instead, because that's the value, the current value of the SDF at that point. So this just takes the minimum value of that one and whatever the box SDF function does. We don't have that one yet. So we go here, this is the box one. I will copy this over. In hindsight, I'm not really even sure why I didn't just do this inside the game from the start, but I wasn't really sure what was gonna come of it at all. So now I'm just having to migrate things over, but maybe that's good. Okay, so now this thing with the position, right? Here and here we need to apply o.pos. Yeah, now we can paint with our square brush. Very nice. So I change to my square brush, make it a bit bigger, and I can paint like this. Let's check something here. So we have that, and the idea here is that this should be able to sort of replace something like this up here, right? I can just do something like that instead, and it will replace something like that. But then I can also maybe just do a little funny shapes like that. And then we'll add in water later. So we have a separate, we will add types to the SDF object. So this one is the sort of hill type, and we'll add a water, like, what's it called? Like, well, pit with water in it. So that will all be good. Okay. And there are some artifacts here, like this weird thing here. I will try to look into that. I think I can solve it. It's just how I sample the SDF. It's a bit tricky. Hello, Bacon Drinker. Bacon Drinker is asking, is it possible to make the SDF generated terrain snap to a grid? I mean, technically possible. I mean, while editing, I could make this one be like of grid size, so it's 16 big, and then snap around. I think that would work. Yes. Everything looks a bit weird right now for several reasons, because I have this weird grid inside here, and I have a mishmash of different art styles at the same time. I think I think it will all look better when I get things a bit more, and also, yeah, everything will look a bit smoother later, I think. So I'm not too worried about how they look right now. Yeah, this old stuff here is tile based. I have a tile set thingy here. But I'm just checking to see if this is if I can do something more interesting with this. If I take it far enough. Right now right now this is sort of better almost, but that's just because I haven't worked so much on the other stuff. So let's see here. What do I need to do now? What do I need to do now? There was something. Bacon Drinker is asking, does lighting get harder with SDFs? I mean, I don't have any real lighting in this anyways. I mean, it's just pixel art. This one is even turned the wrong way. These are painted so the lights come from up here. I could have had normals on these and sort of dynamically light them. But I don't know if I have the time and resources to do all that. But one thing with the SDF is that you get a normal, like I can know which way it slopes, so I can actually put a nicer lighting on the sides here. Like, say that I decide that maybe I decide that the sun is coming from the left like this, then I could make a warmer, brighter color here and a bluer, darker color here, right? That I could do something like that quite easily. What am I doing now? There was something I still had to do here. Oh yeah, I was gonna make it so I can move it, because that would be interesting, I think. How do we move it? Maybe we hold Control and then you click and drag or something. So, if left Control is held, as we do all this crap. Ugh. This is for moving the whole object. O.pos plus equals if rl.is mouse button mouse down left. So if we're dragging him around, then we say get mouse delta. Right. Now, oh, it didn't like that. Ah, that was a copy. There you go. Now I can move it around. Moves too fast. but that's just because I have a camera zoom, I think. Can I get the current zoom somehow? Wow. How do I do that now again? I think I can fetch it from this one. Edit, editor camera is this one. Go down here, divide by the zoom. And now it follows our cursor like we thought it would. We can also do like this. If rl.isKey press.delete, then we do unordered remove from world.sdf objects m.selected SDF object, and then we just set this one to 0, and we, what do? Do we just return maybe for now? I think that's fine to return from here. Now you can go here, you press delete and it disappears. Right. Like I said, I kind of need this texture that it uses for the backing here to dynamically grow as I paint and make things bigger. But we can do that later. Let's just try to put it here for now. And we try painting a little something like this maybe. And the thing I wanted to test here now, make this a bit bigger, what I want to test is if I can add another one, add it on top. So this is why I want several separate SDFs, because then I can do this right. And this is, in the old prototype, this was not possible, because it would only have one texture for the whole game. But of course then you can do weird stuff like this, but you know, that's a level design problem, sort of, how you put things. But yeah, I don't have any way to select. This one is lost forever now. I can't select it right now. But yeah. That's nice. Good. Yeah, the rendering order is all wrong right now. I will fix that later. Because currently this is just, like I said, hacked in here. Because I need to figure out my stupid drawing system. How to properly do all that stuff. What happens if I just do this? Yeah, then it draws correctly on top for now. Yeah. Let me try some more stuff here. Like zoom in here maybe, and we make it's And this, like I said, this runs on the CPU now, so it's incredibly slow. We'll place some of those. The slope thing I haven't put in yet. I have that in the old code, but I don't really like how I did that. I'm gonna try to figure that out somehow. It's a bit annoying because you essentially need to cut out a piece of the SDF. So what I did was I added separate properties on it. But yeah, I'm not sure what the best way is, really. Funny cat tree. This is where you live in the game. You live in a cat tree. Oh well, I think that's maybe a good start for now. I mean, spontaneously, when I look at this, I need to work on a bit more on it. I need to maybe get it onto the GPU so I can make it look more correct. So I don't get all this ugly grid stuff and the performance is better. I also need to make it so that it actually renders in game. And then when it renders in game, I also need to fix the collision detection, which is, you can use the SDF info in the SDF for that. To do some smart stuff. But we'll see. I'm not 100% sold on how it meshes with the rest. I mean, this almost looks better right now, but maybe it's because this doesn't. Yeah, when I zoom out like this, it looks quite cute. I mean, none of this is perfect final graphics anyways. But, yeah. It's ended up behind that one. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we'll see. I think it might be good. Worst case, I just scrap it all and go back to my tiles. But this is something I really wanted to try. And I also want to try to get the water stuff in. And maybe, I was thinking maybe this game is sort of set up in sort of very high up. So that I can have like areas that are like there's like clouds below you and stuff, so then I can sort of draw that in, that oh, here is like an edge and then it have all these clouds below and stuff. But we'll see. We will see how it goes. But I got tired now, so I'm gonna quit. I think I'm maybe gonna play some Animal Well and then call it a day. All this, oh, I can commit this stuff. That's a lot of differences. Oh, what's in player.odin? Oh, all this stuff. Seems like the code is broken. Right. We'll commit all this as SDF experiments. And if you are a Patreon subscriber, then you can find both the prototype tool code, which is, we'll shut this down, this probably leaked 1 million bytes of memory. can find both this thing here, which is the prototype tool I made. You can find this thing. The code for this, it just, like I said, it's just a prototype, and it runs on a CPU. It's not very efficient, but it shows you how to do the SDF stuff. You will find that if you're a Patreon on the organization. Patreons have access to, and you will also find the stuff I did today on porting it over to my project called Adventure, which is also on the Patreon subscribers organization. And yeah, thank you all so much for watching. If you like my videos, consider maybe you can buy my previous game, Cat and Onion, or become a Patreon, or just leave a nice comment or something. I don't know. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Have a nice day. Bye bye.